Go on, everybody. Lennox here from Simple 123 Trader. It is Thursday, April the 3rd. We are live at the New York Stock Market afternoon session. Glad you can join us. Hope everybody's doing well. I am just put on a trade just now in Bitcoin, looking for a move back to the upside. Bitcoin has been in a quandary here along with the indices. So I'm looking for a nice bounce to the upside here. So hello to everyone out there. So I'm looking for a bounce up, taking out the highs. See if that will carry through. I could even set a target. Let me just do that because I'm going to probably be set a target for this high here. See if we can reach that. Okay, I'm going to take a look at our news for today. And the news for today says,
payroll.
Today is April 3rd, and we had unemployment claims.
Yep.
And ISM PMI. And did they have any effect whatsoever?
To tell you the truth, I've been programming all morning and
okay.
bothered with it.
No problem. The numbers look reasonable because the forecast was 225 and they got 219, so a lot less unemployment claims. So than they expected. So that's a good thing.
It's good. That would be good for the dollar then.
Yeah. And ISM services PMI close to forecast.
Okay, so, as long as they're above 50, that's still positive type stuff.
Yeah, and that's what they were. So, all right. So looking pretty good. Let me take a look at the. Okay, that was Bitcoin. I was looking at there. Let me take. Oh, what have I done? I hope I didn't close that window. I'll be very upset with. I did it again. I keep moving these tabs off. Let's see if I can put it back. There we go. Okay, so this one is Bitcoin. All right, so there's my Bitcoin, and then this one is the U.S. dollar on the bottom. U.S. dollar has been in a downward mode. It's on the hourly time frame, but it's trying to push back to the upside. So a little strength in the dollar today, and weakness versus the euro. U.S. dollar is showing a little bit of weakness here. So a little bit of strength in the U.S. dollar currently, and so most of the Forex pairs, anything with U.S. dollar at the end, like euro, U.S. dollar, would be showing a little bit of weakness currently, and then the ones that have U.S. dollar starting would be showing a little bit of strength. All right, taking a look at the NASDAQ, it's trying to make a comeback here. It's been in a downward mode most of the session from yesterday, and it's trying to push back now. So I want to take a look at this from a higher time frame. I'm going to use the futures. Go to the futures here. All right. So I'm going to go up to the daily time frame, and what we're seeing on the daily is this huge drop, a pullback, and then another big drop. So it looks like at this point that we could be at the bottom of this drop finally, and we'll be looking to turn back to the upside. So I'm going to go to the weekly just to get a broader look at it. So that's what it looks like on the weekly time frame. We pushed up, chopped up, dropped. So we've come quite deeply into this area, which is not really what we would have liked to have seen. I'd like to have seen a bounce from here to take out these highs, but it did come down further, so it puts us in some type of triangle, not triangle, but a diagonal type of pattern, and I'm looking for a continued move back up, but it's going to probably be a struggle. It would look like at this point. I think we'll have a hard time getting back up there in short order. It could take a while, is what I'm saying. All right, so we've come back into this gap on, which is an inverted gap from the weekly. I'm looking for us to again bounce back to the upside. Now it's also a possibility that it could be incorrect and we could continue going down and taking out these lows. I do not expect that, but we have to look at that possibility. So if we can't stay within this inverted gap, then it's a possibility that we could fall further. So daily time frame, looking like we're basically done at this point. 4-hour time frame, and this is the structure that I'm looking at on the 4-hour. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think we're basically at the bottom of this move, and we should be looking to head back up in the short term, take out these highs, and even shorter term to take out these highs. And these are my 3 4-hour candles. I'm on the 4-hour right now, so I'm showing the 3 4-hour candles large here. And so the previous candle opened and went straight down, and now the current candle has just opened, and it's just opened just 7 minutes ago now, and it's dropped right down and it's come back again, starting to move. So I would expect this current candle to take out the previous high of that candle and the previous high of the previous candle and continue up. So, all right. So on the hourly, that's what it looks like. So on the hourly, I can see the structure here. We've got a 1, 2, 3 there, drop, chop, drop again. And so looking for them to push back up to take out this high. All right, and then on the, keep going down the time frames, a 30-minute. We can see it a lot clearer on the 30. There's our 1, 2, 3 top, drop, and then a chop, and then drop again. So I'm looking for a continued move back to the upside here to take out these highs. Dropping to the 15-minute. So just going down the time frames here. I'm still having a little bit of lagging here. My remote PC. Okay, I think I should be okay now. All right, so on the 15-minute, if I move it over just a little bit, we can see the entire structure. So there's our 1, 2. So quite the drop here at the open this morning, or I'm not sure. Yeah, that was from yesterday. It looks like big drop, and then we chopped, and then another drop to this morning. So now looking for 1, 2 here to take us back up again. So this pattern here is what I'm looking for here, but upside down, the opposite way, going the opposite way. All right, so that's down to 15. Let's go down to the 5. And on the 5-minute time frame, looking for an entry here to push back to the upside. So can we get something on the 5-minute? Let's see. All I have is an inverted gap on this side, so I'll use that inverted gap here. Looking for a price to push into that gap. I don't have anything else. There are no other gaps here. So either we're going to just push off from where we are right now, or we're going to drop into this inverted gap. which is a possibility, and then we get them to push back to the upside. There is one gap below the inverted gap right there, so we could come down to that low possibility. So I'll mark that off, but I don't think we're going to come all that way down, but it is possible, of course. All right, so looking for about a 50% retrace of this move, which would take us right to very close to where we are right now. So we could certainly drop into this inverted gap here. So that's on the 5 minute, and if I drop down to the 1 minute time frame, that's where we are. So very choppy on the 1 minute, and looking for them to take out this low and drop us down to touch this line right here, which is the 5 minute gap. So I'm looking for a little bit of a sweep of these lows, and then a drop down to this level. So that is the NASDAQ. This is the futures contract that I'm on. Take a look. Let's see how my Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin's still hanging in there. Looking for that to continue pushing up. I think I just missed out on some nice profit there. Wasn't looking at my other screen. Let me get my other screen going here. And let's see, US Tech again. So I'm looking for another drop to take out these lows, but they're not doing that so far. We've got a gap here. So this could hold us back from going up right now, and then we could come down, take out these lows. So that's what I'm looking for here. All right, for those joining us on YouTube, for anyone new to what we're doing here, we are the 1, 2, 3 traders, simple 1, 2, 3 traders. And what we basically do is we look for 1, 2, 3 setups. And 1, 2, 3 setups are basically, we call this a 1 at this point, we call this a 2 at this point, call this a 3. So that's our 1, 2, 3. It's just basically a triangle formation, and it can go either direction. So this here's 1 here. We've got the 1 and a 2 and a 3. So that's essentially what we're looking for. That move is again a triangle. So there are just a couple of rules. The number 3 point cannot be lower than the number 1 point here. This is my number 1 point. So number 3 cannot be lower than number 1. That's the main rule. And this height doesn't matter really, but it all depends on what time frame you're on and so forth to make a judgment of the height of the 1 to 2. Retracement of the number 3 point. If we're retracing to number 3 from number 2, we want to see a retracement of about 50 to 62%. So we want to be in 50 to 62% retracement of that move. So before we take an entry, this is the number 1 prerequisite, and then we also use fair value gaps from ICT, Michael Huddleston, and here's a fair value gap here, so that one would be in play. And we can also use order blocks. This would be an order block right here, and we could incorporate order blocks as well to help us as long as, again, that they're within this number 1 to 2 leg and does not violate the first rule, which is number 3, breaking number 1. So that's essentially what we're looking for. We would take this trade to this level and we're out. That's basically it. Okay, so whenever we get a 1, 2, 3, for instance, there's a 1, 2, 3 setting up right now. So if this was a valid 1, 2, 3, what we wanted to take, we would look for targets by using the fib expansion tool and drawing fib from our number 1, number 2, number 3, and then looking to exit at either 1.272, 1.414, or 1.618. This is my favorite one, 1.618. And we would look for that move to come up into that area, or you could look to the high of the first. Sorry, the high of the first. Just take that off. The high of the first, our number 2 point. So if you're entering in the this is a 1. If you're entering in the 50 to 62% area, you could take some profits off at the top of your number 2. You could take some profits off at 100% or a previous high or a previous high. So that previous high is in line with around 1.272 area, or a previous high. This is around 200%. So you can look at the previous highs as gauges, guidelines. So even this previous high could be a potential target, and so on. So it must be a legitimate 1, 2, 3, of course. So in this case, I would not be using this as an entry because I'm looking for price to take out the lows here. So still looking for a break to the downside here. So that's our 1, 2, 3. That's what we look for. All right. So how's everybody doing out there today? Let's see. Peter's joined us. Marquis, Omar, good afternoon, good day, gentlemen, because it's morning, afternoon for 2. And
yes, sir.
Good day, gentlemen.
how are you guys doing?
I'm well.
Okay. Good.
How are you?
Right. So we've had quite the fun times in the market there after Mr. Trump's speech there yesterday. So just after we left yesterday, that was quite incredible how the markets tumbled. It was quite interesting. So I'm on the futures here, but I think if I look at the NASDAQ with not the futures, you'll see what happened right. So on the futures, you see the difference. You don't get the candles going down, but on the futures there, that's what it looks like. So if I go back to NAS, which is not the futures, this is just the index itself, we get the candles. So just after we closed yesterday, this is the 4 o'clock candle right there, and after we were on for a few minutes, all of a sudden this occurred right here, and I'll show you how it's set up because it was really quite neat. I'm going to go down to, so this was at 1600 yesterday, so let me go down to the 1 minute and go back to 1600 yesterday. And we'll look at that drop. It was quite interesting. I was watching Trump speaking, and then all of a sudden I thought to myself, it's that beautiful 1, 2, 3 top set up there. So let me just see if I put a trade on as Trump is speaking, what would happen. So let me see if I can find it here. I could have just used the tool there to get back there, but let me see. I'm pretty close now. Okay, so here we come. All right, so there it was. So I just signed off with you guys, and I think we signed off around 20 minutes after, or thereabouts, 21 minutes after or so, and it was forming this 1, 2, 3. And I remember I was saying to you all that I'm thinking that there's a couple possibilities here. So we were sitting like this. I was saying, okay, there's a couple possibilities. I'm looking for a price to either come back up and take out this high and then drop, or we can just come inside into this gap here and then tank from there. So that's what my thought was at the time, because our structure was complete from down here. We had gone up nicely into this level. So didn't know if they were going to go and try to take it high one more time or not. So I decided to try a sell from here on the gap, putting my stop above the high. That's my risk. Okay, if they take me. So what happened was, as you saw it before anyways, was that we did come up into the gap and boom, it just tanked like crazy here. Boom, 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 boom. So putting the fibs on that move, if I were, if I'm looking at 1.618, this 1.618 is pretty quick. So you could take profits off it, even at this previous low here, but here's 1.618, actually 1.618 is here, right here. So very close to that level, but this looks like we're going to go down quite a ways, so I just let it run. But it's just beautiful setup there yesterday, and I thought what Mr. Trump said was quite positive overall, really. But I don't know what your thoughts on that was. George, Marquis, you guys are in the States there. What were your thoughts on that?
It's really hard to say because a lot of countries have been having some qualms with it. I think we'll find out during the next few days, etc. I think the important thing is that globally, he set parameters for all of the big guys. And it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out what will happen. Basically, I think he set our tariffs under a country's tariffs.
Yes. So he's just trying to, as he calls it, reciprocal tariffs to make up for all the countries that are hitting them with tariffs. And it seems reasonable to me, but
what's hard is, how some people will be able to get around it by shipping to another country that doesn't have tariffs on it or something like that.
Well, there are always ways around things, right?
Yeah, I think eventually we'll be able to crack down on that as well, because he said that he doesn't want countries working with each other. So basically, because England has the lowest tariffs, which is like 10%. So if, let's say, someone that has higher tariffs just ship through England, then and he says, you know what, that's going to be an issue. Then eventually, wouldn't England just have higher tariffs?
Mm-hmm. And that's reasonable and fair as well, I would think. I'm going to jump in on this NASDAQ play right now. We come down into the gap. So if I look on the 5-minute, we've come down into this inverted gap that I thought we would drop into. I wanted to see them break these lows and drop down into the gap, and that we have. So this looks like a good turnaround point for the indices at this point. So let's see if that will work. Of course, I could be in a little early, but I've got a fractal, and a fractal is a swing high or a swing low. In this case, it's a swing low, just 3 candles.
Just can't. Well, I guess I am. You're on a 1 minute. I was on a 2 minute to see.
Yeah. So I've got a swing low with 3 candles, and I'm just going in based on a movement above the middle candle, the lowest candle. I'm taking the entry at that point. My stop would be below the low of the candle that started the swing. So that would be my risk. and looking for a push back up. So now I'd be wanting to see price take out this high. And at that point, we'll be looking for a retrace back in, and you could add to or continue the move to the upside. So that's it, of course, if I don't get stopped out here. I'm calling this the bottom, but they could be sneaky and drop back down one more time here. That's possible also. So it's always the risk of jumping in on a fractal, because there are fractals everywhere. So you have to be really careful about jumping in on a fractal, but it's in the right place. The context of it is that we're in a gap. So hopefully that will hold as the bottom there. My risk is very small, so it's all good. So looking for a big push out of here. So I could be in jeopardy. The midpoint of the gap is this dotted line here. So if I could bring this up, you can see I'm inside the gap. So they could come down to the midpoint of the gap. That's my only risk with the going in on the fractal here at this point. And the reason I'm saying that, we did have a 1, 2, 3 here. We have a small one here, and then this drop. So we could come down one more time. It is possible to take out this low one more time, but I'm hoping this 1, 2, 3 is legit and we go back to the upside. I was stopped out of Bitcoin. They came back and took me out at this low. So they swept this low here. I thought maybe that was sufficient, and then we get this 1, 2, 3 to go. But they said nope. They came back in to take me out. So I'll look for another entry here. I can now get in on a fractal, so a break of this candle, or wait for a break of the high and a retrace, something like that. Okay, well, they're hanging around quite a while here in here, so not looking good when they hang around too long, as we well know. So we would like to see them push out if we're going to go. Otherwise, I could be in trouble. They could take that low out again. See how it looks on the 5. So on the 5-minute time frame, we've swept those lows there. We swept down here as well. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move, and we've got a drop back down. And this is also 5 waves, and we're right into a gap. So, and an order block as well. So looking pretty good here for us to turn at this point, to go back up, to take out the highs up here. So that's where my target would be, in the first set of targets. If I can stay alive in this trade here, I would look to these targets here. And this in itself is a huge 1, 2, 3. So we wanted to see a retrace back into the 1, 2, 3 up around 50 to 62%. So if I put my fib retracement tool on here, we came back into 50 to 62% exactly. So there's 50%, and 62%. So we're right in the sweet spot area for us to go back up. But this is the best, like I say, the sweet spot area. However, price can come all the way down 100% and still be legitimate, as long as price does not break the low. So there's no guarantee that this is where we're going to stop and turn, but this is the high probability area for price to turn around. So we shall see if that's...
Looking at it on the 2-minute, and it's still hasn't given me good confirmation that we're going to go up yet.
They're still lingering in here quite a while. So the longer they stay in, the more likely it is that we could see the low being taken.
Well, it hasn't made a great deal of move since you got in, but it's just not making a move in the direction that we want at this point.
Starting to get a little bit of a move there.
Yeah.
We're trying, but still under pressure.
So far, it looks like the direction is correct. It's just that they haven't picked up all they want yet.
Still looking for an entry in Bitcoin as well. So Bitcoin's very close to this gap here. I go back up to the 5-minute. So similar pattern to NAS. They swept the lows. We move up in 5 waves in here. And now we get this 5-wave move back down. So looking for an entry in this area. Again, 50 to 62% area. Looks like we're right in that sweet spot. If I put the fib retracement tool on. And there's 50 to 62%. We're very much in that sweet spot area. So looking for an entry, and we're really rocking up all of a sudden. So I'm missing my nice entry on the fractal by staying up on the 5-minute there. No problem. So look for a retrace. So a breach of this high.
Okay, now it looks like it's getting interested in the upward move.
Got a gap in here. Okay. So this looks pretty good on Bitcoin. So I missed my fractal entry by that much. That would have been a beautiful entry because my risk is so tiny right there. That's the kind of entry that I love. All right, so at this point now we're breaking two previous highs. So I'd like to see them retrace back into this gap here. And that would give me a nice entry to go. So that's as simple as our 1, 2, 3 is. So once you've established the high and the low, you can use the fib retracement tool to kind of gauge where 50% to 62% is, and it's right in that gap, so it's perfect. So I would just be utilizing that as a retracement back into that. There's no guarantee we'll get that retracement back, but that's what we would expect. So I'll get ready to buy. I could use a limit order as well.
I got in with a limit order.
They're not giving me much of a deep retracement. I've got an official change of character now. When this candle closes, and did, so now we have an official change of character. So still looking for a possible retrace, but it might be mute now. We might not get that at all now. So I might have just missed my opportunity there.
I picked up 15 handles. My first lot.
Okay, US Tech's doing nicely here. We're breaking this high. So I could actually move my stop up into positive if I wanted at this point. So that took a while to get out of there. So I wasn't liking that too much that they were taking so long, but it did work. I'll bring my stop into positive. 50 bucks there. And that way there's no losing on this trade. Let's see if we can make it up to the top. Let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla from yesterday also did the, of course, was hanging up at the top there. So if we look at it on a lower time frame here, this is quite an eye-opening pattern, we were looking at Tesla and we saw that they went up and we were in a fourth wave. So the likelihood was that we are either going to open up high or open up low, based on what Mr. Trump was saying yesterday. So once NASDAQ tanked and Bitcoin tanked and everything like that, the consensus was that we would be opening up low, and certainly did so. We opened quite low this morning. We then pushed up, dropped back, took out the low. So this was a possible expected move, because our structure brought us into a fourth wave here, and so we would expect a drop first before we get this move back up to take out the highs. Now here's our first 1-2 or 1-2-3 here. So we don't want to see price come too deep into this area, and it hasn't. And now we would look for price to continue back up to take out the highs. So this is looking quite nice for Tesla to move back to the upside. So if I drop down to the 5-minute and look at it, once price opened this morning and moved up, there was an opportunity to sell here to the downside. We get the sweep. Now we get a 1-2-3 here, and now we're in a fourth wave. So we could certainly push out from here, or take out these lows again and continue, or just continue straight up from here, because we did have a little blip there. So Tesla looks pretty good as well to continue pushing to the upside. So Bitcoin did not retrace for me to get in. So that was unfortunate that I would have gotten in on my fractal right there. So that would have been a nice play, but did not get in. No retraces. It didn't retrace very much here. Not much of a retrace here either. So we have these gaps that it makes. We've got gaps, a gap here, and a gap here, and we don't retrace to them at all. So it's just showing a lot of strength right now. So we've taken out all the previous highs. All the sellers are done at this time. So now it's just the sellers here that are left. So when we get up here, we can still get a retrace. So it's not all lost, and then that would give us a huge 1-2-3 that we could look to get into on a retrace of 50 to 62%. So that, again, it's just the same thing. We could retrace from here back down at this point. We don't have to go up and take out this one first either. So they can do that. They can retrace here first and then go up and take out these guys here. So everybody's been taken out now. So all the liquidities from these levels are gone. So there are no sellers left in this, and they swept everybody down here. All the buyers in here are all taken out. So there's only liquidity sitting here and below these levels right now. That's it. So yes, they can go up all the way up, or they can turn back from here and then take these guys out last. So let's see how it plays out. How'd you make out this morning, Peter, with Tesla? Peter's not hearing me. So we did get a nice pullback here on the NAS, but not deep, not very deep. So looks like we've got lots of strength here to continue pushing up. I think I have to add more contracts when I'm playing the futures rather than when I'm playing NAS, because I'm only up $600 at this point. I should be up like double that. So I'm making less when I'm playing the futures. So I need to double up on my contracts, maybe even triple up. my contracts at this point.
This hasn't been going up with a lot of gusto,
Well, we're in the fifth wave now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're in the fifth. So we're looking to take these guys out and these guys. And at that point, we'll get a retrace, and that will give us our 1, 2, 3. And then we'll look to continue going up. So this gap can come back into play once we take out these highs. So looking for this high as the main high to take out. This one's next. I'm looking for a retrace on Bitcoin.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at a 5-minute time frame on NAS,
Looks pretty good.
where's your wave count on this, though?
My wave count is that this is a huge 1, 2, 3 here, and we're heading to the upside.
Yeah, we should be, but
So looking for them to take this high on this move up. Let's take a look at it from the 15.
that's your 5-minute one right there?
Yeah, this is a 5-minute.
It
15.
looks so different from mine.
I'm on the futures.
Oh, you know I'm on the futures. Yeah,
So our 5 minutes should be the same.
Okay, I'm with you.
I'm getting a pullback on both the NAS. So they did take that high. So that was pretty quick. So we're getting a pullback already just from the first.
Yeah, it took me out on the second one.
I'm getting a pullback on Bitcoin as well. So at this point, I'm going to add to my kitty here because if they think coming a little, I think they're going to come a little deeper into the gap because there are some lows here. So we'll take those lows, drop into the midpoint of this gap, just like that. Maybe it's a little lower would be good. No, they're not going to do it. Add some more here. So now Bitcoin's giving us that retrace. So we've come back into this gap here, first gap. Can we come down a little lower? Possibly, or not. So looking for a retrace of about 50%, and we're right there.
Well,
Looks like I was taken out of NAS. Ow, that's too bad. So jumping around a little bit here, but let's see. I kind of thought my stop might have been a bit too tight there underneath that gap. So it's a possibility now that I could be wrong, that we're heading up and they could come back and take this low, but I don't really want to see that. Hopefully this gap will hold and we'll continue pushing to the upside.
Right now, it doesn't seem as though they want to really take out the low. It's just that they probably haven't grabbed enough orders yet. And I guess there's not a heck of a lot above us that they can lock into.
Okay, so Bitcoin is giving me a buy here. Could have waited a little longer for this, but so I'm right at 50% retrace area. So I didn't really wait for my fractal. Should have waited in another 20 seconds or so, but let's see if I'd be okay. So this gap, came back to the second gap. Got a fractal on the US tech. So I'm going to jump back into NAS here. Stop loss below. Oh, I forgot to change it. Okay, so I'm going to have to add another contract here. So I could give my stop a little bit more room, put it underneath the candle right there. But I don't think that's going to matter. If they're going to take me out, they're going to take me out.
On my NAS, I ended up with 43 handles.
So can we push out here, or are they going to go take these lows?
Yeah, I mean, it still hasn't decided.
They've taken me out again, so that didn't work.
Oh, they got you?
I thought I'd be safe there. Wow, that was... If they go back up now, then that was a bit too tight on my stop.
Yeah,
So look for another fractal.
We're into the macro now, you know.
10 minutes too, yeah. So this gap is not really holding. I have a very tiny gap over here. Very small.
Well, okay, I'm on a 2-minute chart. It's been very, very leggy.
So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go with 12 and I'll see if I can get back in again. All right, so this time got a nice fractal again. So let's see if we go this time. Stop below. So I'm just having a few small losses here, but a few small losses can add up quick, so you have to be careful. So I'm jumping in early because I'm trying to reduce my risk completely, but it's not necessary for you to do that. We can wait for the full 1, 2, 3 to set up. We do have a 1, 2, 3 at this point, and looking for them to push back up. So this is the complete wave here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives us a 1, 2. We've retraced back into looks like a little lower than 62%. So it looks like we're in the 79% retrace area. So let me just take a quick calculation here. So we did come down into 79%. So hopefully that's enough and we don't come down and take out these lows here or this low here. This little gap right here is just a small, tiny gap there. Hopefully
Came down quite a bit, really, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Come down a little more than I thought. So it looks like they want to take me out again. Yep.
Yeah,
so
well,
it's
they're still
not holding.
around.
So they're taking out the lows. So that's going to jeopardize our 1, 2, 3 at this point if we break that low. So that's as simple as that. So if we break the low, then all bets are off. So I can I'll draw a line. We might not break it, but they've retraced quite deeply into this area. So we've retraced down almost 100%. So I won't take a trade here now. What I'll do is I'll wait to see if we break the high and then look for 1, 2, 3 there to go back up. That would be a better play than to jump in here because I'm so close to them taking out this low. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Okay, I didn't put a stop on my Bitcoin. Should have done that. Okay, so where will be a good play? Okay, so I can put my stop down here below the candle low. So I'm taking a big risk here to get stopped out with a big loss, but I should put a stop in. So looks like I could get taken out here as well, possibility. Technically, my stop should be below the low of this candle, so I'll do that. I'm going to do it the technical way, put it below the low of the red candle, because that's the candle that created this gap that is not holding. So that's where my stop would be. So if I get stopped out, that's it.
Oh boy. There you go.
Did they take the low?
No.
Yes. Okay, so they took the low out. So this was not a completed
Not completely out.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Okay, so we weren't done to the downside. So it looked pretty good that we were going to turn and go back up, but not to be. So you can see how choppy this is. It's very tricky. So let's go to the 5-minute and look at the whole picture. Okay, so still have this gap.
1 minute, and I'm wondering if this is the leg 5 down.
We're still pretty good here. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, they're taking this low. So I didn't even notice that at that point. So we've got a inside. So that was what they were going to do, take that low one more time. So that was, let me just take all this stuff off so that I can see what I'm doing. Move. Okay. So based on the structure from here, this move was a 4th wave. And internally we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So yeah, they should take this low. So we should be done in this area now. Very close to it.
Took out the 11:30 Eastern time low.
So we're right in the middle of the gap here, the inverted gap. So I want to take a look at this again. All right, so this is a sweep of the lows. So again, we could wait for price to break above the previous highs and retrace back in. That would be the 1, 2, 3 that we'd be looking for. Or I can jump in on a fractal if I believe I'm at the bottom. So I'm right in the middle of that large gap. So this could be the bottom here. So I can either wait that out or wait for the fractal, which just occurred. The fractal is already in play. Could have jumped in right there. My risk would be that much right there. So you can either do the fractal or wait for the full retrace. Sometimes by waiting for the full retrace, you don't get it. They might just retrace a little bit, or they might not even retrace at all. So that's why I like this entry here. But the risk here is that we might not be at the bottom. They could still take this out one more time.
That's the big problem with.
It's a small problem in the sense that your risk is so small. If you're correcting that we're heading up and you take that risk and you get stopped out one more time, it's not that dramatic, but it all depends on, you know, your.
Now you still have a 25-point risk or more.
So these guys can go. So we're sitting at a spot where, yes, we could go through one more time, totally.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
We've got equal lows, so they might take it one more time. That's possible.
Which means we're coming down to 790 area on the futures, which is about 22 handles.
So we're right at my fractal entry area, so I'm going to take this trade again. I'm going to try it again and say that we're not going to take these lows. So my risk again is small, very small. So I'll take that risk all day long because it's a very tiny loss if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, they're going to go through and then we'll come back up, take that high, drop back in, and give me that 1, 2, 3 again. So let's see if it holds or not. They're very close to taking me out again at the low, and looks like it's not the bottom. Nope. So it's not the bottom again. So I'm not doing so well here. This is not good. Okay. Don't try this at home, kids. Remember, this is all for educational purposes. So don't not be following me doing what I'm doing. This does work though, however. So you'll see when it does work, it works beautifully. So I'm going to try it again.
Did you get stopped out, Lennox?
I did. They just swept out those lows again.
Oh, you were really close on your stop then.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm putting my stop close below because that's the key to keep your stop. People put their stops far away and so forth, but you know they can just wick you down and take you out if you put it far away. So there's no real winning in there. But I think we're close to the bottom here. So just kind of.
Well, so far I'm looking at 790 to be the next lower level, which is still 20 handles down. And of course, I don't know if we're going to get there or not. But.
All right, so again, we have equal lows. So we could still go drop one more time here. Bitcoin's not been kind to me either. They've taken me out again on Bitcoin. So we're not done going down on Bitcoin. So I'm not having a good session here so far, but I'm still confident I can make this all back, so it's all good.
Well, we're into the
algo time.
Block macro.
Yeah, we're into the algo at 2 o'clock. So we're very flat. So it looks like, yeah, they're going to take that low one more time. All right. So we're just below the midpoint of the gap. So the gap that I'm talking about is this inverted gap from way over here, and we're right into the middle. But we also have a regular gap right here that they could stretch into. So we're coming down, you know, into the 79% retrace area, and that's okay. I'm jumping back into Bitcoin again because I'm determined to catch this thing. And back to the NAS. So how far down are we going to go here? So since they fooled us and swept this low, going back up, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like we're very much close to the bottom now at this point. So just going to check it on the seconds chart to see where I am. Yeah, seconds chart says yes, we could be there.
I would be cautious about that right now.
I'm looking for a fractal, so I'll wait for the next candle. I got less than about 5 seconds to go. So I'll try this again.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
All right, so there's my entry. Whoops. All right, so this would be my bottom now, if I'm correct. I stop below. So again, I don't have to do it that way. I can wait for a breach of this high and wait for a retrace. That'll give me a nice 1, 2, 3 setup. But I'm going in early because my risk is tiny. So, you know, let's see if that works this time.
The big problem is when I'm looking at my tick chart, we're in a solid down channel that hasn't completed yet.
I jump back in on Bitcoin as well. So again, take that risk, see if we can get out of there. You're still looking that we want to go down further. Wow. You just cannot, can't leave this area. We are in the gap, so it looks like I'm going to be taken out again. That is amazing. The seconds chart looked pretty good there, but I guess not. Nope.
I'll show you what I'm looking at, Lennox. I put my chart in the chat, and you'll see that channel hasn't really gotten broken at all. And that's equivalent to practically your last leg down that you have on the 1 minute chart.
Yes. It's just snaking down, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is George's chart that he's just posted showing the snaking down of this. So we're trying to catch the bottom, and we're just having a little bit of unlucky. I know we're close. Just a matter of.
Yeah, I agree that we're close. But As a matter of fact, now the one that's beginning to show positive activity, but to see
Well,
if
here's what Bitcoin just did. So I'm in Bitcoin and it's moving out. So I would be expecting the NAS to start doing the same. Let's see what Tesla looks like.
that seems like it wants to have a little more to go.
Tesla's trying as well.
Yeah. We're not quite there yet.
So we're in algo time. We're about 11 minutes into the algo. So they're going back down again one more time to take that low. So we get these nice signals that it looks like we're done, but it's very difficult to see the structure here because it's very choppy, very quick movements. So I'm trying to use the seconds chart to help me, but it's also very choppy, very, very hard to read. So
Yeah, it is.
this is what the seconds chart looks like. So this whole area from this level down is just the same choppy affair. But it's very difficult to read it. All right, we've come into the last.
It still is in a downward trend.
This is the last gap right here. And then we have an order block. So we could touch the order block, and that might be it. So if they were determined to come to the order block just below 72%, then that's it. So
Well, we're into that order block.
yes.
But I still don't have a lot of excitement for going north.
No, not at all. So let's see, how many times have I been stopped out so far? Too many times for my liking. 6 times so far. That's not good. Not liking that very much.
Well, I've only been in once, and I got.
And you're smarter than I am, George.
Pardon?
You're smarter than I am.
Yeah.
I'm just getting chopped up here.
Yeah, I mean, it still is.
So they're going below into this order block. That's just.
We're below the 50% point of that gap.
So this order block, that's the last line of defense, essentially. And we are.
So that order block is really further down. That's strange. Oh, I'm on a 1 minute chart. Yeah, there's the highs down to the low.
It looks like they're going for the midpoint of the order block. That's quite a deep retracement. So it looked pretty good there in the beginning that this low here would suffice around the 50 to 62% area, and we get that nice move. That looked really good.
What's the low number there, Lennox? You're on the future, right?
Yes.
But my low number is 720.25. Yeah, that one.
719.36.
Okay, well, that's close enough for that.
That close is not good. This should be the same. We're on the futures.
Yeah, we're on the future. I mean, that's possible to have that because the NASDAQ has so many different market makers competing for one another that, that's possible to be off by a little bit.
So that's shattered. I thought that all the futures had the same prices.
No. NASDAQ has multiple market makers
Yes.
for the same instrument. I mean, there could be 100 market makers for the NASDAQ 100 futures. Well, I don't know if it's 100, but you know what I mean. There's definitely more than one.
I do know what you mean.
They've just changed their rules that they're around the globe now as far as time frames is concerned. So depending upon the broker, you could be picking them up from Australia.
Everything is just very odd here. That we're not getting a big push out.
No, we're not.
Very surprised at this.
We're definitely not. As a matter of fact, this entire leg down has literally had really very little up movement. Is that one little consolidation area there?
It looks like we're done. It looks like we're complete our structure. So this should be the bottom, and unless they're really gunning to take this low out again, that's a possibility, of course. So that would mean that this would be a 1-2, which would be taking us way down, which is not what we really want to see here. We want to see a bounce going back up. All the liquidity is sitting up here right now, so this would make more sense for them to go back up to take out the liquidity rather than to continue down. But we've been under pressure, so this is not totally out of the question that they could continue down to take out this low again. But our structure.
I haven't hit the bottom of my fair value gap yet.
Here, here's our structure from yesterday: 1, 2, 3, 4, and we sweep the low. So this makes a nice 1-2. We should be going out of here. If they take this low one more time, I mean, that's totally possible. And then we would be looking for that 1-2 to come back up. So I can't rule that out looking at it now because I've been wrong enough times now that we're going to turn and go up. So that is a possibility. We've come down quite a bit on this retracement below 70%, 72%, 79% area now. Wasn't expecting that deep of a retracement. And it's still going down. So quite interesting here.
We just
Bitcoin is following suit.
Of my fair value gap.
So I'll continue looking for a breach of the previous high to give us a change of character. We haven't had one really yet.
We haven't had one, right? Yeah.
So, once we get that, it might be wise to just wait for that instead of trying to get in on the fractals, because every time I've tried, I've been taken out.
Yeah,
so.
We're already up to 220. So this is not what I would look at as an algo, but if it was, it's started at 147. When I do my fibs from the top of this downtrend, we right now are at 262%. Amazing.
My 4-hour candle tells us that we've opened, got our wick dropped, looking for a tail here. So again, this could be it. We're right dead center of our order block. That's the dotted line right there. So this could be the turning point again, but I'll wait this time for confirmation. 1, 2, 3. And let's see if that will work. So looking at it from the 5-minute standpoint, we're right dead center of our order block. So if that doesn't hold us up at this point, then all bets are off and we're going to be going through to take out the lows one more time, which I wasn't expecting whatsoever. Again, I thought we would turn around at this point and go up. So I was wrong about that, and we've gone further down. But I can see the structure that's so. So we should be done here. If I was a betting man, I would be betting the farm here now.
The same thing is happening on Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin's doing the exact same thing. I'm watching Bitcoin as well because I want to get another entry into Bitcoin. So I'm waiting for the breach of the previous high and the retrace.
I put a chart in the room of my 10-minute chart showing the 4-hour candle designations that I showed you yesterday. It's interesting that the 9 to 1 candle is really a doji.
Mm-hmm. It is very flat.
And the roughly 1 to 5 o'clock is a doji with a smaller top to it.
All right, so we've got a breach of the previous highs now. So everything's looking good. Again, I could have gone in on my fractal, but I decided not to this time. So yeah, my risk again would have been quite low here.
Skipping around, I missed the point where I started seeing the up moves going. So I have to look for a point to get in here.
So there's our retrace right there. So that might just be enough of the retrace. They might not come back any lower because there's nothing really except for this order block, which is not really an order block. But so I'm taking the trade a little high. I don't like that so much. But what I'll do here is add another contract if we do come back to the order block, which it looks like we are. So I'll add another one. I'm going to take a risk here again and add. See if this is our true 1, 2, 3 this time, because we did break the previous high for the first time. We're pulling back in. Got a nice 1, 2, 3 setup. Will this work this time? And my stop will be below the low. So that's my risk. Yeah, again, it's still not a very high risk, so I like it for that reason. Doing the same thing with Bitcoin.
It's not taking me in. Got to pretty soon.
So can we
Oh, it's retraced quite a bit now.
can we turn the engines on here this time and go out and up?
It took me in. Let's see if it works. This is going to be touch and go.
They're lingering a little too much again.
Yep, it is lingering.
Amazing. Not making it easy today. Not making it easy today at all. Oh, what did I just do?
Mm-mm. Don't like this.
They're coming down again to the lows. Wow.
Looks like they want to.
Yeah, they're just not going out. So we've got the sweep of the previous high. We got it, and yet we're still coming back to take the low. It looks like again, very interesting turn of events here.
I stopped for some reason.
That's quite a retrace.
Yeah, it is. My stop is right at the bottom of that fair value gap that I've been talking about. Well, I go up and just give me one so I can get something on the board. Boy, is it a struggle just to get
It is.
positive.
They look they're going to take the low out again. Wow.
I think they're going to take me out.
Huh. Very interesting. So after breaching the previous high, we shouldn't be taking this low out. I mean, it looks pretty good that we should be going out of there, but it's not playing our way today so far yet.
Well, I didn't move my stop at all. I just left it where I had a program for.
I'm leaving my stop where it is. They can take me out there. It's not a big risk. So
My stop gets triggered, I'll be even Steven. Still having fun trying to get a positive.
Bitcoin's making a nice move.
Yeah, okay, this is better. I almost got triggered.
Wow. So they
Turned
took a
around.
nice push
Yeah.
up and then back down we come. So it's a battle. It is a battle in there.
Okay, it's trying again to make a move up.
Bitcoin's trying hard to get out. You see we got a beautiful 1, 2, 3 bottom there. So it's looking like we could make a move out, but still struggling. And definitely the NAS is struggling to get out. So we've got equal lows now, so it's evident that they might drop it through one more time to take the low, unfortunately. But we're, the midpoint of that order block is holding very,
I'm lost.
was holding very steadily there, but they're taking the lows out one more time. So that's very sneaky. Yeah, they're taking the lows out again. All right, so it's not the bottom. Wow.
Oh, at the bottom.
Very interesting. Okay.
They left me
So-
with 9 handles.
It's most likely that we're going to get a tail here. This order block should hold. We'll get a tail here. I really don't think they're going to take the low. So
Oh, that's the only thing.
So I haven't had much luck. Bitcoin has just saved me a little bit. I made a nice profit on Bitcoin just now, and looking to continue. So I've made most of my losses back with one play on Bitcoin. I made a $3,500 profit on Bitcoin in a quick move up.
Oh,
So
I'm a big 10 handles positive.
So it just took profits off there, but I loaded up on the contracts. So now I'm left 12 running. All right, so I'm looking again. So now that we swept again.
Yeah, see, it just
Got a
said,
fractal.
these guys are so darn close to the bottom area. Let me just grab them.
Looking for a breach again. So let's see if now we're doing it again. So we see how they're taking off. Now Bitcoin is really taking off. And so there we go. We got that breach of both. So where, oh my, these guys are sneaky, boy. And there's an inverted gap there. So you see how quickly they're leaving now. They're not giving anybody a chance to even get in.
I played around just a second too long. Darn it.
After all that, so I liked my fractal entry there. That would have been nice because that was a quick sweep, and then we get another sweep. So looking to come back into this gap right here for a move out. So can we come back into that gap? Yes, I'm going to take the trade right there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we go now.
And it's going to drop me again.
Small gap there as well. So they're giving me a chance to get in a couple of times. So I'm going to take another double up on my contracts. Stop below.
Now a minus.
All right, so there's my risk again. Again, my risk is small. So looking again for them to go back up and take out this high now. So let's see if we can get that push that we're looking for. We're 35 minutes into the algo, and we really haven't had much of an algo.
No. no.
from this point here where Al kicked in at 2 o'clock. We've only had one gap here, and then we couldn't get another gap going. So we need to turn and go back up now. Breach of that high. Everything looks good now. We should be going to the upside.
No, it's still tepid, really. It's
After this sweep, that should be it.
it's still in consolidation mode, really. At least I have a better entry than I had the last time. But the volatility is up, and that's the reason why I'm getting a problem. That's the reason why I got stopped out the last time, is the volatility is a lot higher. Okay, I'm back on the board. Now let's see if it can go up. If it starts getting close to this level, I don't know whether I should leave it or try for moving my target to the top. This is a slow starting algo if it's going to be one.
No, Bitcoin's trying.
Did you put your target at the top of that, like you had it?
I haven't even done that at this point, but my target would be here.
Where?
That first high. That's a reasonable low-hanging fruit, but certainly could reach for these highs up here and higher. But
Okay, you're not going up all the way. Yeah.
could, I mean, because that
60,
again,
like that.
we're looking at this as a 1-2 still. This is a 1 ABC now, so we could certainly make it to these highs easily. So yeah, that's not out of the question to go for those highs there. 99.71. Okay, I'm gonna go with 10,000. 10 grand on that.
What's that number?
That's at it. That's the high here of 82,464.
On yours, it can't be that far from mine.
82,464 is that high. On Bitcoin.
That's on Bitcoin.
That's Bitcoin. Sorry, US Tech. Sorry about that. Thought I was on. Okay, so on US Tech, that would be this. That's the first high here. That is at 18,985.
985. Oh, that's really up there. That's almost near your.
Yeah, so that would be the 1-2, and I'm going back up to the 2.
Oh yeah.
Right, and I could even go higher up to that level
That's
here.
895 area. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a 4,900. So I'm going to go to 5,000 on that one. Okay. Well, that's a reasonable move there. So Bitcoin's doing nicely. So quickly I've made those stupid little losses back, but again, it's not a great way to start the day. So I'm going to bring my stop up into positive. That way I don't lose at all on this trade. But Yeah, this is quite interesting here. So there we go. Finally, we get that 1, 2, 3, and now we're off. So we should be taking out these highs pretty quick here. You know, I should just take some profits off just because I've got it just in case. I'm going to take 7 of them off right there, and that'll still give me 5 grand at the top, almost. So still pretty good. Let me do the same thing on the NAS. Oh, NAS hasn't given me enough yet. Beautiful move on Bitcoin right now. Just awesome. So that's quickly, you know, you can lose 5, 6, 7 times or whatever in a row with these trying to get in on the lows, and if you keep them small, which is what the fractal entries do, you know, it's not so bad, but you can make that money back pretty quickly. With the right correct move.
Need one nice push to get me through this.
So I could now stretch my target higher because I can see that we're heading to. So this is our 1, 2 here. If I, oops, get rid of this guy. So if I put the expansion on, 1, 2, and this is our 3, and my 1.61, the 1.618 is way up here. So that will be my first target way up there. And I'm just going for 100% right now at that level. So you can see 1.618 takes us right up to the previous highs. And that's completely in line with a reasonable move here from this 1, 2, 3 bottom. So I'm going to do that, go up right up to the highs in here for a target. Don't like that number. I'm going to try again. 1,777. So that's a totally reachable based on our 1, 2, 3 here. And there's 1.618, that target, but I'm going for these equal highs here. So what's happening on the 4-hour? If you look at the 4-hour candles, we've opened, we dropped down. So we're in our tail, our wick area of our candle. This is where you want to get in, and now you want to ride the 4-hour candle up, take out the previous high of the other 4-hour candle, which is right here. So that's a reasonable target right there. So I could take some off there if I wanted to, and so forth, and then continue up to take out the high of the third candle. So that's where I'm heading, and that is totally reasonable. It's not even being greedy or anything like that. It's just the way the structure should play out. So what I'll do here is if I get a retrace of any kind, I will look to jump in again and add some more contracts. So if I keep these gaps happening, so if we get a pullback into a gap for whatever reason, then I'll add to my. So that's let's see the US Tech. US Tech is doing nicely now. So I could take a little bit off on the US Tech in this area, but it's a similar thing. So we've got the 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go to the 15. So whoops, on the 15, you can see if I put the fibs on to the expansion, my 1, 2, 3, there's my 1.618 right up at the previous highs. So that is, again, not an outlandish target, that previous high. So I'll go right up to my 1.618 or I can just go to the previous high like that. So that's reasonable. I'll go 9,500. I can take some off at this high or this high. And again, that's not being greedy or anything. It's just following the structure, and that should be reasonable. So to have a few stop outs and you lose, say I lose like you know, a couple grand or whatever, or a grand thereabouts, you can make that back in quick time with the nice moves in the third wave here. So any retraces gives me an opportunity to jump in again and add to my position, but I'm good with 24 right now in the NAS. There are no gaps here to come back to. What's this from the 5 minute? So once I get to this high, I could then take some off.
That's a coin.
So Bitcoin's making beautiful moves. I added to my Bitcoin. Let me just show you where. Right in that gap. It came back into the gap, so I added some more. So I'm up nicely again. So I could again take some profits off because it made a nice profit.
That's good. Yeah, I was able to add to the mine. I let my second limit go out, and it retraced, and I got back in, and
So looking for this high to reach. This will be the high to take some more off at that point if I get another chance. So and just keep these gaps marked so it retraces back into the gaps, give you an opportunity to add to your position if you wanted to, and so forth. So, so I thought that we would come back into this one, to this bigger gap, but we didn't. So I jumped in on the first one in midpoint. So again, I can keep my risk. I can keep my risk into positive. So my stop into positive again at this point. So there's no loss. This is a beautiful, beautiful move here.
That's in Bitcoin, right?
And the NAS, both.
I was just looking at the structure of it.
Just going quite nicely here. So it was, just being a little bit, maybe a bit too impatient, perhaps. I don't know what you would call it, but trying to get the bottom of this move. And again, I was totally fooled because it looked like at this point that was enough when we got here. So that's why I started to pile in, thinking that, okay, we're gonna start going here. But they kept going down, right down to 79% area, back into the order block, even down to the midpoint of the order block. It's just crazy. So quite the retrace here. It's amazing.
When they go that far down, they will trick you into believing that they're going to sweep the low.
Yeah, you start to doubt yourself and your analysis and everything, and that's what they want you to do, of course, right? So you have to consider that when you're trading. Are they just trying to trick me? And it's very difficult in here, as you can see, to see the structure. It was very, very difficult. So I can basically make it out, but it's really tough. So this final sweep here was one of the keys. The sweep here, and then sweeping this high, and then of course sweeping this high. That really gave you. But we got a nice 1, 2, 3 here. We got a retrace back into the 50 to 62%. Got the sweep. We have a gap in here as well. Everything lined up here. So the move is nice. So that's again our 1, 2, 3, but it was very tricky in here. It looked like we could have gone from here. It looked like we could have gone from up here, that type of thing. Maybe even here, but they weren't breaking the previous highs. So that's why even when they did break the previous high, you see here they tricked everybody because they broke the previous high. Remember, I thought that was it for sure this time because we swept here, and then we went up. Broke the previous high, dropped back in. It looked pretty good that we would go. Nope, they said nope, we're going to take you out again. So yeah, it can be quite tricky.
Earlier, George showed a channel. If George, if you could put back that channel and see how far they came back in line with the channel. How far back down they came in the channel, and at one point they turned it around.
So this was the one you're referring to?
Yeah, George was showing channel. So
how far down did they come?
Did they come? Yes, before they turned.
Yeah, George, did they touch the bottom part of the channel or break the bottom of the channel?
Let me see which one we're on here.
You could post it. That's the NAS. You could post it.
Yeah, the NAS at what?
On the 1 minute. This is the one you posted.
Time frame. Okay. Yeah, that was practically at the bottom. To give you an idea, Omar, it's at the bottom of that large fair value gap. It goes back to fair value gap is on 11:10 a.m. Eastern time. That's the bottom of the fair value gap.
Okay.
Depending upon what you're on, your number might be different than mine, but that's the time. That's the bottom of the fair value gap in 2 candles away.
Could you post another picture like that, George, of the channel?
Yeah.
Could you post another picture?
Of that channel?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so the visuals.
I think I took the channel off. Let me see.
Yeah, the visual would help me to to align what you're
Yeah, I just used the channel drawing for that, and yeah, I took it off. Yeah, let me make sure. Yeah, I took that channel line off because that was on a tick chart.
Okay.
It's on the 233 tick chart, and you could draw one on yours. It's really the leg that where that down leg. That's the one that was into.
Okay, no problem.
So we're getting quite a pullback here all of a sudden now. And of course, that makes sense because we've had
It
a
came
five-week move. So we're getting a retrace. So do I want to be stopped out at this point? Not really, but
yeah, I wasn't looking and I got stopped out.
looks like I could possibly get stopped out here.
But I'm still I've gained a lot.
Let's see where 50% of this move is. So 50% is right where my stop is right now. So
I would have been out a couple of candles ago.
Could get stopped out. There are equal lows here. So I put my stop up below the equal lows, but I could be in jeopardy. They could drop it down and take me out because 50% is right in that area.
Well, I ended up with a good positive anyway. The last hours for you guys. Okay, I can check and see if my tick chart is. Hello. Speaking.
Okay, looks like that might be enough for them. Continuing.
Yeah, they came into the gap and sweep, but they could go one more time though.
Yeah, there was a small gap there, but they went through the gap, right through it. But didn't really hold.
Oh, are you on Bitcoin?
This is NAS.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin, they went right through the gap as well. They've come into the bigger gap now.
Yeah.
So they might go down one more time. So you check where 50% of the entire move is, and then that will give you an idea. So 50% is right at the midpoint of the large gap. So they can come down to that level on Bitcoin.
Omar, I went down to my tick chart, and it's the drawing you have on there covers that amount of the tick chart. If your question is, did it go down further? Yes, it went down further, but it looks like the bottom where it's turned at was slightly below the tick chart. If I just extend the channels, let me do that. Edit.
Okay. If it's possible, you could post one with that same channel on. I just wanted to see the visual of it.
You wanted to see what?
Oh, I just wanted to see what it looks like.
I just extended the channel lines on the tick chart. Let me squash it down so that you can see more of the data.
In the meantime, Lennox, I am trading gold. But I'm trying to gauge a target on gold as to where would be a good point to.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. I was just about to take a partial on the NAS because I see they're chopping up a little bit here, but they dropped back a little bit. Here, they went below this gap. Looking for them to go back up again. I'll take a little. I'm just going to take a partial, even though I'm still confident they're going to continue going. I just want to take off a little something, just so. And at that point, so I'll just do it there, and that way I can just drop my stop back just a little bit, just in case they decide to come down a bit too much there, and give them a little bit of room. We'll continue. Okay, so let's take a look at gold.
Okay, I posted that chart, Omar.
Okay, thanks, George.
So gold. Okay, I have to look at gold from the daily. So here, again, remember from way back in the beginning of March there, we called for gold to hit 3,000 and higher. And that was our first kind of target area, was 3,000. We did that. And now we're in the fifth wave. So you can see the structure. And we're getting up this big pullback, so that could be a top on gold. You know, that's possible because we've got it. Our structure is complete. So let's take a good look at it here now. So dropping down to the 4-hour. So that's the entire move from the daily. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this 5-wave move. So in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move. We've got a sweep. And now another sweep. So I think we're coming down. Okay, so that's the key takeaway right there. So keep that in mind from the higher time frame that we're more than likely at the top. That was the top. This was a sweep. We're getting a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 top now to come back down. So on the hourly, there's our sweep. There's our sweep of the lows. We come down 1, come back up into 2. So we're in a move up right now. We've got lots of gaps up here. We've come into the first one already. So we could still go up one more time, take out this high short term. Okay, so let's go down to the 30. Now we're looking at the move to the upside. So we can see we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom down here. We can't see it on the 30. Let's go to the 15. You can see it on the 15, but we can see it much clearer on the 5. Right? So there it is. So now you know where we are. We've got a 1, 2 here, and then we've got this 3, and we chopped up in this 4th wave. Well, we get a 1, 2, so we're heading to the upside. Were you in agreement with that?
Yeah, that's where I'm looking to exit, but I don't know if I might come out before, but that's where I'm looking.
Yeah, that looks like a good target, that high there.
But they might not get there before 5, so I don't normally like to stay in the trade after 5. After 5.
Yeah, I can't tell you when they're going to get there, but yeah, we are starting a 3rd wave, so it could be quick. I mean, it only took around the 5 minute, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, say half an hour to get here. So this is totally reasonable in a 3rd wave to get up here quick. So that could happen within the next hour here.
So I guess we are at the end of the, say, 5, closer to 5 New York time, then.
Yeah, so we've got, we're in the last hour now. So yeah, this might be a push, but they can do it possibly in the next hour here. So this was the sweep. Then we get a beautiful 1-2, and now we're pushing up to take out those highs. So that looks really good. I like it.
Yeah, thanks. Bitcoin as well
pushing
is
nicely here. So yeah, I got again some nice profits here. I brought my stop below this gap just to give them some room when they came back down, because I didn't know how far down they were going to come. So now I could bring my stop back up. I could actually take some profits off again. So I'm just taking partials off as I go up and take another partial there. Bring my stop right up now. I could even go into positive here just so that there's no losing again, because I don't think they should come back down below this gap anymore at this point. Once they break this high, and this gap won't be there until another 40 seconds or so, but it looks like it should hold. So I should be okay to continue going up.
That 15-minute target that you pointed out looks reasonable, but I mean,
yeah, it is reasonable, but it's not going to happen like before the end of the day here, before the close. But you know, I can stay in Bitcoin all afternoon and so forth, right? So I'm good staying in the whole time. So
yeah,
I'll often do that. I'll often, when I leave you guys sometimes in the afternoons, I'll play Bitcoin and just catch the moves. And there's some beautiful moves, you know, going into Asia. This is one of those today where we're getting that nice move. So, you know, so again, those small losses I had down here is inconsequential at this point, right? It's just like, you can make that money back so quickly. It's just unbelievable, and you can see it's happening as we speak. So it's a beautiful thing, Bitcoin. It is, and the tech is still struggling a little bit here. Not as buoyant as Bitcoin is, but still trying to get up there. So we might. Okay, so we're at 10 minutes after almost. So looking for them to take these guys out, these guys out, these guys out. So should be able to get up there by the close, I would think, and maybe even higher, perhaps. But it's nice to get into a position where you're in a no lose situation, where you don't lose, whether, you know, even if it's only $10, you know, just not to lose to these guys. So really nice.
Like I'm in the trade, and like I'm in Bitcoin now, and I don't want it to pull back too deep on me, but I mean, that the pulling back is always part of it. But
330.
Times, you know, you contemplate whether you should take all the profit, but even though you see where it has the potential to go higher.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. You know, you can take a little off, or you can, you know, you have to decide for yourself what you want to do in that situation. Right? So there's Tesla again. Same thing we talked about earlier. We had the nice 1-2. Then they chop it up, and the typical chop up, they take out the lows, and they're going to make a 1-2 in here, and then continue pushing to the upside. So this is just a typical play. They do this over and over and over again every day. So once you get wind of what they're doing, once you can see what they're doing, it's beautiful. We're struggling a little bit at the NAS, but we're right on sitting on that. That gap is kind of taken out, so there's nothing really here.
The NAS is flat as this.
Order block, but yeah, it's struggling a little bit to get out of there, but I would expect it to continue going up here regardless.
The pre-10 macro is finished at this point.
Yes, so we're going to be coming up into the 15-minute after macro time. Yeah, so we can see we're fighting in a fourth wave here now, right? So we've got this nice 1-2 here, and then they come up and they start to chop it. And again, typical chop. They're going to sweep these guys here, maybe even sweep these lows here. So I've got my stop below this low, but I might not be safe. They could spike it and take me out and continue on without me. That's a possibility here. I don't have to put my stop up that high. So you see, they did sweep these guys. So is that enough for them there without taking me out, without going below that candle? Maybe not. We'll see.
I'm kind of glad that I got out because it's been doing nothing but going down since then.
Yeah, so they took me out. That's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Okay, so I can always get back in. That's the beauty of the game. You can always get back in. It's just a pain when you get stopped out, though. Don't like it. So I took some off, which was good. So I had some nice profits, and so I can always get back in again. So where did they come back into here? There's nothing really here. You know, there's an order block, which is not really a great order block, but so there's a fractal. I could enter back at that point, or I can wait for a proper 1, 2, 3 to continue out. So
yeah, this could be a good setup right at this point. Because of the hour of the day, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm liking Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing nicely, so I'm okay with. So this is a really nice fractal at this point that could be an entry, you know, and they're giving me a second chance to get in. So I'm going to take this opportunity to get in on the fractal. So I'll try it again. So my stop will be below the low. I don't even have to go below the low this time, but it's such a small risk again. It's not that big of a deal. One of the things you can do is to use the tail of the candle, in this case, as a possible stop, because the tail of the candle, or the wick of the candle, the tail of the candle, is a gap in itself. So halfway down the gap, you can put your stop below halfway point, sort of thing. So you don't have to take the full risk all the way down to the bottom, but it's not a big risk, so it doesn't really matter at this point. So let's see if we continue bouncing at this point. Now, again, by jumping in with the fractal, I could get stopped out because this could be 1, 2, 3, 4. They could come down one more time to take me out. So we'll see, but they've swept everybody out, so maybe that might be enough for them to push back up, take out these highs. This guy is of no use here. So there is an inverted gap right here. It's a very tiny one, but that can become a support gap. Oops. Like that price can go up, come back into the support gap, and continue. This little inverted gap right there. This is also an inverted gap here. That could act as support. I don't want to mark one that's higher. Like up here, it's higher gap. Well, it's not even a gap actually. No, it's not a gap. So yeah, this one here. So you see they're coming back down, and would you have been safe down here? No. So even below the low, we might not be safe. Like I said, this could be one of those where they take me out again, and they did. So yeah. So where are they going? There's a gap here. So let's see. If they come down to that gap. This might be where they're heading. Yeah, they're right into it now. Okay, so they came right back down into this gap. And again, that's reasonable. You know, we can see we got 1, 2 here, go up and they chop it up and down in here, come back down. So that could be a reasonable stoppage point. Oh, looks like I got stopped at a Bitcoin as well. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so there we go. And we don't really want to see them come below this level. So we need a tail here now. Otherwise, everything will be just a total disarray if they start going down too far. So you see what could be happening here now is that they actually weren't done, and we're going to go down and take out the low again. That's a possibility, but
They're heading for the close.
Yeah, that's a serious possibility here. That's why they're coming back so hard. But it looked like we were done, and that would have been a nice 1, 2 to continue going at that point. But you can see they're heading to take out the lows, so that's wickedness there. That is a very wicked move there. Not liking that at all. So this is on the 5-minute time frame. So let's just see. Let me take a good look at it. Yeah. So if that's the case, then this low is in jeopardy. Wow. So that's a quick turn of events here. Everything was pointing to a very strong move back to the upside here, but now they are changing things right around. So it was looking good that we could do that and continue up. But they're saying, no, we're not done. So this is quite a change. So that I thought of this possibility, but I didn't really think that was going to occur. So that's why I didn't really bring it up. But at this point here, yes, we can retrace, but I didn't think we were going to retrace very much, and then we continue because of the strength of this move out. But you can see how they can quickly change course. All right, so we're getting a wick here, but we're very tail here. So we're very close to the lows. So this is no longer. Yeah, so we've retraced almost 100% of this entire move. That's amazing. When you think about it. Get rid of all this stuff. Order block. This gap's no good. With no gaps here, there is an inverted gap here. This is on the 5-minute, so let me go back to the 1 minute. All right, so what are they doing here? Can we make heads or tails of it? So we have a big sweep. We have a 1, 2, 3 top drop. So it looks like they're going to take out the low here. So that's an unfortunate turn of events on,
they could take it back up in the macro at 10 to 4.
Yes.
Looks like they want to take out the low.
So I was able to make some nice profits though on those moves. So it's always good to take, you can see why it's always good to take something off when you're in a move, because if I had sat there saying, no, it's going to make it all the way up, no problem, you can see I would be losing everything by sticking to that assumption or presumption. So yeah, it's good to take a little something off when you get it, and you can move your stop up into positive. That way, if you do lose, you're not losing at all, right? When you do get taken out, you're not losing at all. So it looks like we're going to take out the lows here, both lows. So will that be it at that point? Let's take a look at the 15. It could be. It's a possibility, I suppose, but there's no guarantee here. Let's go to the 30. Yeah, I'm surprised that they're going to come take this low out again, because our structure looks, yeah, I guess that's possible there. You can see the structure says, yeah, we could take that low out one more time. So what would they be coming into if we go below this low? So we have to find that out on the higher time frame. So let's see if we can see it on the hourly. Cannot. 4 hour. Cannot. Wow. Daily. There we go. So on the daily, we're into this huge gap here. Nothing here really. There's a big order block. So we're right into that area. So there's not much in this area. There's a couple of small gaps, but we are in an order block from the daily standpoint. So we should hold. It does look very lean here. We could certainly fall a bit further. So remember when we were looking at this chart, if I go back up to the 4 hour, remember when we were looking at this last week and I was saying, or this was on around the 27th or 28th, I was calling this out and saying that we're going to drop and we're going to go back up into these gaps, and then we're going to be falling to take out the lows. And I didn't know what the catalyst was that was going to bring us down. I was saying that from last week. What was the catalyst to bring us down again, right? To drop this market down so badly. And now we know it was on the 2nd that we came back up and Trump is doing his speech. So that was the catalyst. So I didn't know what the news was going to be, but we kind of had an idea that Trump was going to be speaking on the 2nd because that was told to us. But we didn't realize that news was going to drop this market that badly, but something was going to bring it down for sure. And that's what it was. So it's quite interesting where you can see the structure ahead of time, and you can surmise that we're going to come down and take this low out. But what is the catalyst at that point that's going to do that? And quite interesting how that works. So will they take that low? If they don't take that low, that would be great, but it looks like that's a possible move. Let's go to, so you can see the current 4 hour candle. We opened and this is the wick of the 4 hour candle, and then we dropped. So it looks like we're going to take the low out for sure, because we've come down and they haven't taken the lows yet. So I would expect them to take that low.
I'm expecting them to do the same thing on Bitcoin as well.
Yeah, Bitcoin looks. Let's see how Bitcoin looks at this point here.
1 minute low and quite likely bring it back up in the macro.
So Bitcoin's a little different in that it looks like a solid, more of a solid one too here. And now we get this move and this move. So it looks like we have a more solid, that they wouldn't come back down and take this low out, or this one.
On the 1 minute I'm referring.
I see, on the 1 minute. Okay, so let's go back down a little. So this also looks like a solid move. And then, so let's look at the entire move. So this again looks like a solid move to the upside, retrace. So we do have a gap here, and I could see them dropping into this gap. All right, so let me draw this gap over. Yeah, okay, so now you can see our structure. So it's a different look on Bitcoin. We have a green candle. We opened, dropped into a tail, and now we're pushing back up. We pushed up quite a bit and we've come back in. So we can drop one more time into this gap, and that will give us our structure. So we can chop up here a little bit and then drop, and then we will be looking to continue back to the upside.
Yeah, I'm realizing that quite often the pattern is similar on the NAS with same on Bitcoin.
Yes, they can be at times, yes. So it's a similar, but a little different. So we've got the 1, 2, we're in the fourth wave in both of them. And so we're looking for them to drop through. And on Bitcoin, you can see the difference in the pattern. It's the same, but they're chopping it up this way.
Yes.
And to drop it. But they're chopping it up sideways on the tech, US tech. Yeah, so quite interesting how the difference of how they do it. And that's what they do to kind of mess you up a little bit, because like I've always told you guys, that when you get into a fourth wave, they can chop it sideways, they can chop it up, or they can chop it down.
Yeah,
you never know which way they're going to do it.
Bitcoin is very enticing for the long, but you can still see that it's a fourth wave, so you
don't want to be jumping and going long here. This would be a better sell at this point now to come back down to take out this low, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want to sell that. I mean, you could, but the better play is to catch the bottom to go back up again.
Yeah.
If it's going to turn around, that is. I mean, just because we think that this is going to happen doesn't mean that it's going to stop here and do what I'm saying. They could continue down for whatever reason here, right? But
yeah, but
we wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, and it's good to anticipate, because if you don't anticipate it going back up, it's harder for you to catch it.
That's right. You have to have some idea of what to expect. You know, but there are never any guarantees, no matter how good you think you are.
Definitely, and also I've said it before that I like the timing, even though I know that the market can move at any point in time, but I think the timing plays a very critical role, like the macros and the
yes, indeed, yeah. Because it's time and price. Time first, because you have to get to a time first before price will print.
Yes, because if we weren't aware of the time in terms of the macro, we wouldn't necessarily be looking for a play at that point in time.
That's right. So here we have our number 3 point. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Right? We got our 1, we got our 2, we got our 3, we got an A, a B, a C, a D. So what would we expect?
To sweep, you're referring to sweep the lows or sweep the number 3 point?
Well, we only have an A. Let me do that again. We only have an A. I can draw my A.
B, C, D.
And a B. And
so are you expecting them to go back up to sweep the highs before
I'm expecting them to go back up and take out this high first. So we could come back into this gap.
Okay.
And then we get the drop into this.
But in that case, then it's possible that the macro could be to the downside.
We still have 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So no, I think that we could do this and come down, and then the macro is going to be taken off to the upside.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for here.
Yeah, I was just looking at it from a time perspective. So
so time-wise, we still have 20 minutes. So, look at how many. You got to look at the time here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 minutes right there. So it's no problem for them to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes here, come down 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, and one more, and so forth, and then start.
There you go.
Right. So you look at it in that way, and you can see that it is totally reasonable to expect. So now what we've got is a sweep of these guys. So since we sweep these guys now, yes, we could go back up, but I could be wrong, right? And they could just drop it right straight down right now. But I would expect them to drop it into to go back up first. But doesn't mean that I'm right. I'm going to be right, right?
But
it's just an expectation.
Yeah.
Because they could say, well, you know what, we don't want to chop anymore in here. Maybe that was enough at that point, and that's suffice, because they did come in and basically touch that gap. So that could be, we could be done. We might just get a retrace back to here, to this gap, and that would be enough to take us back down at this point, right?
Because
so
what I was going to ask is how do you know when to look for the ABCDE and not an ABC?
That's an easy one, because if we have a 1-2 here, 1-2 is typically an ABC, and then when you drop to the 3, since this is an ABC here, then it's called the rule of alternation. So this will become an ABCDE in here. If this is ABCDE here, then this will be ABC in here. So ABC is typical for the second wave, and then you get ABCDE here. So if it's reverse, if this is over here, then this would be over here.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand the concept.
So it's very rare that you get ABCDE here in the second wave. Very rare.
Okay.
You typically, when you get a 1, 2, 3 like that, it's just an ABC move, and 1 ABC, 1 ABC, and then boom, then you're gone. So it's very unusual to get an ABCDE move down here in your. It's typically just that move, and then when you get here, you get your ABCDE. So if that doesn't happen and you see an ABCDE here, then you know that this will be ABC. That's where you get those long legs coming back down into this area. So if that makes sense, yeah, that's their answer.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, that's the rule. That's the rule of alternation. It's called. They alternate if one will alternate, but it's very rare that you see that. What ABCDE in the second leg. Very rare. I will point one out if I ever see one, but I haven't seen one in a long time.
Okay. Yeah, it can. You're referring to the rule of alternation?
Yes.
Okay. You mean on the charts?
What are you referring to?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
rule of alternation in Elliott wave.
Yeah, in real time, seeing it on the charts and.
Yeah, in real time, again, I'm looking for, once I see this 1, 2, and we drop,
yes,
I'm then looking for ABCDE movement. So if I can spot it, and here, is this it right there, and then that's it? That could be. right? Or it could be this and then one more time, right? That's why I was saying I was expecting it to come back up one more time, because this is a bit tiny right here.
Okay.
But they could have done it that way, you see? And that could be it at this point. And then we could just get a 1-2 here and come down, you see? So there's different ways to look at it. And that's why with Elliott Wave, people say, oh, it doesn't work and everything, because it's all subjective.
Yeah, because you don't have to get the same thing.
Or you might look at it and say, oh, it's this way.
Yes.
And I'll look at it and say, no, it's this way. Right?
Yes.
So two of us are going to have different opinions on that. But we're all in the same camp that we're in a fourth wave. So when we're in a fourth wave, anything can happen in here. So it's very challenging to discern what's going on in a fourth wave sometimes, as we have seen many, many times. So I'm looking for them to take this high out, but doesn't mean I'm going to be right. Because this could just be a 1-2 here and we could still drop. But they're looking like I'm going to be right. Like they're going to take that high. So that's what when I looked at it, I thought, okay, this one, they've swept these guys. So now they'll go back up, take these guys out, come back down into this gap. So we still have 14 minutes. So it's still possible for us to get back down here before we go again, right? So looking for them to take this high, and I can see the structure 1-2. So it's looking pretty good right there, right?
Okay.
In the meantime, let's see what the U.S. Okay, so U.S. dollar, NAS is really dropping here, right? So they really dropped down below that low. Wow. So quite a difference here going on between the two now. So we've swept the lows, which we expected because they swept this low. So I can see now that the structure, you see this entire move here, consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So that is our 1-2. You see how that changes? Just like that. Because here it looked like we were done. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this is very short third. I was wondering about that. It was very short, this move. So this could be our 3. And then we go up and it's just a fourth wave, and then they fool us and then they drop it back and take it up. So the structure is always there, but when you start looking in here, it can get very, very messy. And so again, at this point here, when we get a nice 1, 2, 3, this drop is too short to be a 3. You see? It's very short, but you just don't know. Maybe it is, and they're done because they did get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we could be done at this point, but it could also be a 3. So is it a 3 or a 5? Remember, I always put the question mark. Is it a 3 or 5? Now they go up. It looks pretty good that, oh yeah, we could go. They say no, we're not done. They come down further, and then they start going. You think, okay, maybe we're done, and then they say no, we're not done. And now once we take out this low, then you have to look at the whole structure again. Wait a minute, what's going on? Why are they coming down so low? Because once they go below 50 to 62%, everything, all your thoughts of price going up become less likely. You see? So they're heading to take out these lows. That was the whole ploy. So very well done, but we could still make money in there. But they're very smart on their part there. And so the whole structure becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're basically done. The macro is going to take us back up to take everybody out. The macro at 10-2. So I still like it to go back up. You see? So on the 1 minute, you can get in again. We can catch this move to go back up. So this is the challenge of reading the charts. It's not straightforward. We call our 1, 2, 3 a simple 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's a simple triangle. Yeah, no problem. But it's not easy to play. Right? It's very difficult. So here we get the chop. and then the drop. So we should be done, or very close to being done in here. Maybe we could drop one more time, sweep these lows one more time, get it. So we would like to see a real good sweep. So is that it? If we can take out the previous high, then that would give us a good signal that, yeah, that's it. And here we go. Just like what we did over here. Sweep, sweep, get the retrace back in. That's the move we want. So if we can see the same thing here, we've got a sweep, come back up and take out this high, then we would have the same pattern as over here, right? So let's see Bitcoin now. And I noticed with Bitcoin, a lot of times it doesn't give us that fifth wave. So, okay, so it's done what I've expected, 1, 2, 3, and then we've come back up, we've taken out the high. So I would expect them to turn around and drop it back, but it doesn't mean that they have to. We could just do this and continue, right? Because there's no guarantee that we're going to get a fifth wave. So keep that in mind as well, that there's no guarantee. Yeah, our structure says we should get a fifth wave, but there's no guarantee that we will. Because some, again, it's 11% of the time we don't get a fifth wave. 11% is not very many, not much, but I noticed it happens a lot in Bitcoin, that we don't get that fifth wave drop. It's more than 11%, I would say. I'd bring it up to like 22% to be realistic. That we don't get that fifth wave. So should we get this move down? I expect it, right? I expect the drop into this and then the move back up. But there's no guarantee. I hope this all makes sense. There's a lot to it, right? Again, I have decades of this stuff, so I can see it, and most of the time, yeah, I'm good. But there are times when it's like, whoa, okay, I don't see what's going on here at all, and I just, okay, time to step away. But most of the time, you can really see it quite clearly. So now I know that, okay, they've broken this high. This is great. This is what I wanted to see. So if they start going higher, they're breaking this high. If they start going up here and breaking this high, that's not good. They shouldn't even be going too high into here. So we don't want to really see them come too much. Just wicks is fine. But, if they start coming higher, then this violates all what I'm talking about. And we're not going to come back down here at all. So it's a very crucial point that we're at right now. We're into this gap. It's basically holding, but there's also order blocks here. So the order block is still in force, right? The order block is playing a good big part. And it's a 2-candle order block. So we're right in that critical area. We don't want to see them go through here with a closure if we're gonna drop back down. So will we close, or will we just get a wick? It would look like we would just get a wick because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should just get a wick and come back down. So we only have 7 minutes now, right?
That's why I was saying that the macro could also be to the downside based on what's happening.
Okay, and if that's the case, the macro could do this. They could do this, take these guys out, and
yes.
then
At the close they bring it back up. Yes.
Yeah. Right? That's what I would expect.
Yes.
So we need just a wick here, and we don't want a closure, ideally. But we'll see if we get that or not. So I've marked this. This should be here like that. That's how it should be. Okay. So we're getting the wick. We're getting a fractal. Will we go higher or do we drop? As we come into the macro time, 6 minutes to go. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, macros and so forth, this is all ICT concepts. That there's a macro that runs at 10 minutes to each hour. For 20 minutes it runs. So 10 to 3, 10 to 4, 10 to 1, 10 to 12. Every 10 minutes to each hour, there's a macro that supposedly, theoretically, runs for 20 minutes till 10 minutes after the hour. The last hour of the day, which is the 12 o'clock my time, which is 3 o'clock Eastern, there are two macros. The typical 10 minutes to till 10 after, and then there's another one, again, that supposedly runs from quarter after till quarter to. So that one is just finishing now. So that would be this macro essentially from 15, where's 15 after here, somewhere in here. So this was a macro that was running all this time. And now with 5 minutes to go, we're waiting for the 10-minute to macro, which is the most dynamic one for the session. This is the closing macro. So this one typically moves price, and what the macro is essentially doing is seeking liquidity. So wherever liquidity is sitting, and we can pinpoint where liquidity is. Liquidity is here, here, and here, and here. So where would it be seeking liquidity? It looks like I was saying earlier that they're doing this kind of move, and then we should come back down to take out the liquidity down here first before we go back up to take out the liquidity now that's sitting here and here and here. So this could have been a sell here, all this chatter, I'm not even thinking of trading, but that's a sell to come back to take out these lows. Again, doesn't mean I'm going to be right, because they could still come halfway. There's a gap here. They could come into this gap, and then they could take off this way, because that is a 1, 2, 3 at this point, right? You see how everything works? Because they took out this, it's a break of structure. We have a sweep here. This move up, come back into a gap. This could be a move to the upside from here, right? But I don't expect that. I expect them to continue down to take out these lows.
Yes.
So we have 3 minutes left. Let's see. We're going to see what happens here. Should be quite interesting finish here. So I'm expecting them to come back down into this gap. This gap is no longer. I could leave it. No, I'll take it off. So I'm expecting them to come down.
That gap has not been mitigated as yet. So it's very plausible.
This one.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the 1 minute. Yes.
So this one is no good. That was the order block. Don't need to mark the order block anymore. So we've got 2 minutes left. Yeah, let's look at the NAS. So the NAS is turning, see how the NAS is turning into a 1, 2, 3 bottom now. So it's looking like we could get that move. Maybe they might do this, take that out one more time. That's possible, but we've got that switch back now. Sweep, move up, back. This could be a go, or they'll take it out one more time just to be mean, and then take off. So this is where looking at S&P helps. So they're both doing the same thing. So we're not getting any divergence between S&P and the NAS. So that's really good, right? They're both doing the same thing. So that really helps to see that. So we've got less than, okay, last minute now. All right, so this should be interesting here to see how this plays out. So can I make a trade at this point? Not really. The trade was to sell right up here to come back down, or to wait for them to come here and try to buy to go back up. But they might be doing it really quickly, and we might not get a chance to get in. So I want to watch the U.S. tech because the NAS moves more so than Bitcoin does at this time. So it looks like they want to take the low out one more time. So that will be a sweep, and then we could get a big strong move back up to take out all the liquidity up here. So they did sweep it by a tick, and we're in the last minute. We got 7 seconds, so let's see what they do. A little more sweep. Bitcoin's holding in that gap right now.
Boy, that's been flat for a long time now, hasn't it?
I could look at both NASDAQ and Bitcoin at the same time. So there's NAS on the left. I think that's NAS. No, that's Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin. So let me put NAS over here. Oops, I always do that and it doesn't work. To go US Tech. Okay, am I losing it here? US Tech. There we go. US Tech, Bitcoin. There's Bitcoin. All right, so we're on the 1 minute looking at both. So you can see the NAS is trying to turn. Bitcoin's still stuck in that gap, so they don't look like they want to take out these lows like I was expecting. And NAS is starting to turn back to the upside. So this is super tempting buy here, you know, at this point to come back up. So I'm going to take a stab at it here. And I could be wrong and they could take me out. So I'm going to put my stop below the low. They could take me out, no problem there. It's a small risk again, very small risk, but it looked pretty good. See, Bitcoin's this gap has held Bitcoin up completely, so they might not take out the lows, which I you know, we were expecting that for them to take out these lows. So NAS is doing okay so far. So we need to get above this high, retrace, and then that move. That would be the ideal. Bitcoin, we need to get back above that high, retrace to continue kind of thing, without them taking out these lows, which is quite interesting that they didn't. I would have expected them to do that. So still might, right? But now the macro hasn't really kicked in yet. You know, it still hasn't done anything. So usually you get this big, strong move. So maybe we'll get it here because we've got the sweep. So we just need to sweep this high. This gap's really holding price on the Bitcoin. But they can easily and quickly take out the lows here. They can easily come down and take these out. And you think about how much money it takes for them to push price down to take the liquidity here. It's not a huge amount of money for them to do that. Grab all these orders and then take off back up, taking out the sellers in here and the sellers in here, up here and above. So this is what's going on. So there'll be buyers right here. So there'll be some stops under here as well. So nothing stopping them from dropping, no pun intended, nothing stopping them from coming down here. You get the stops, right? Which one will it be? Which one will it be? Will they go or will they drop one more time?
Since that gap has not been mitigated, I think it's where they're heading, but they're just playing around to entice the buyers.
But right now we have a 1-2 here, so we could still drop. I'd like to see them just go up though. You know, I want to see the market go up because, you know, after yesterday's drop, you know, it's time for us to start heading back to the upside. It'd be good for everybody's psyche. So I don't want to see any more downs, but, you know, what I want and what it does are two different things. So
you're referring to Bitcoin or not, or NAS?
Both. I mean, both.
Both.
I'd like to see price move up because if the NAS and the S&P and Dow are strong, you know, all these stocks people are going to start jumping and buying the stocks, and Bitcoin, they'll start jumping and buying Bitcoin, and you know, markets get buoyant again, right? We don't want to see negativity. Again, I think what Mr. Trump is doing is a good thing. I don't know, short term it's going to be painful, of course, but I think maybe in 6 to 12 months, 6 to 9 months or whatever, you know, we might start paying dividends. Who knows, right? But that's kind of how I look at it. But I don't know for sure. I can only look at the charts to see that, you know, again, looking at the charts, we are in this chop and looking for that move out. We're down in this area of the charts on the monthly time frame. So I'm looking for, you know, a push out, but we're struggling in this area, right? So I'm struggling in here, just trying to get out. So it looks like they're holding it till the close. There's no guarantee here.
The down move seems more enticing.
Small risk here, but because they have swept, you know, this should hold. We should continue up here.
Oh well, I'm looking at Bitcoin. Sorry.
Yeah, that's Bitcoin.
Oh,
no, sorry. This is U.S. tech. Sorry. So Bitcoin, yeah, Bitcoin, it might hold. We could continue up. You know, like I said, there's two ways of looking at this. This sweep here, this could be the bottom, but that means we're not getting a fifth wave, right? You see? So if I just shrink this up a little bit, you see that, again, we have 1, 2, 3. So at this point here, I would have expected them to take this low, but they didn't do it. So we're not getting a fifth wave. So now that they sweep here and come back up and sweep here, this could just be our 1, 2 now, and we're heading up.
Yes, that's a strong point because also it's they're coming down fast now.
So this didn't work. You see, so this could be a whole big 1, 2 here, and we're heading further down, way down too, if that's the case, or they're just doing another quick sweep. So how can we tell which one it's going to be, right? You have to look at the overall structure from the high. So now I can see it from the high. There's my 1, 2. There's my 3. There's my 4. So we would expect them to take this low. They did. So they're doing it again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're taking this low again. So that's it. So there we go. We're taking that out. We're still inside. No, we're not. Oh, still trying to hold into that gap. Will it stay, or will they take the lows? So it's very precarious right now. And we've got 1 minute before the market closes.
We have a bell.
Okay, so maybe we'll get the big move now at the bell. We'll see. Because they've swept this low one more time. So it's either we get that move now or nothing happens at all. Well, this is US Tech. I better put it on the NAS because yeah, the US Tech stops at 1 o'clock for whatever. The future stops at 1 for on mine. Okay, so let's look at the NAS here. So do we get a big move? So we've got the sweep. So we would need to take these highs out, get our 1, 2, 3 here to go. Bitcoin cannot take the lows still. Trying.
I would say because the gap has not been mitigated.
It is mitigated now. It's gone because they took it out here.
Oh, which
on Bitcoin?
On Bitcoin.
Yeah, they took it out.
Oh, not that one. The lower gap.
The lower gap on the 5 minute, maybe.
No, on the 1 minute.
There's no lower gap.
Well, there's a one on mine.
I don't have one on mine.
When you were looking for the, or if you go back, well, because your chart is smaller still.
Well, this one down here.
Gap. Yes, that gap.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so that would mean that we have to sweep these two lows to get into that gap. So that's a possibility. Yes. That's what we were saying. That's what I was expecting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like they want to do that. It's very slow, and so the macro didn't really kick in today. So this is a macro here today that didn't do much. But we still have 8 minutes left in the macro, so anything can happen still, right? It can still all of a sudden take off. So we'll see. So never say never in this thing. All right, so I'm gonna go back over to the main chart because I'm going to go back over to here. So this is, and then let's go back to the NAS because the futures have stopped for me. I got to go to the NAS. Whoops. I always want to drag it over for whatever reason. Okay, so there we are. All right, so do we still get a push up at this point? Maybe, maybe not. And then Bitcoin. That gap there, so that's what I was looking for them to drop into the gap down here and then go, but where they're not really doing it. Take out those lows.
Yeah, they're in the gap to that bearish gap there.
The inverted one.
They're way up in that gap now. So breach it there.
Oh, I'm always doing that to myself. I'm going to put all these guys together so that I have them all the same. So, although I like them in order. Okay, so NAS is trying now to move up. So we do have the sweep. You can see we do have the sweep. We have a 1-2 already, but we'd really like to see them break this high. So this would be an entry at this point to go long on the NAS. So I like this entry because your risk is small. So this is the reason why I love these entries. Your risk is quite tiny, but you're because they've swept, it looks pretty good. But if you want more confirmation, you wait for the change of character at that point, and then a retrace back in, and then we go. So yesterday when after I left, when you guys all left, the market was kind of sitting like this, but on a high up here. It was just kind of sitting there. And I thought, you know what, this looks pretty good. We're back into the gap. I'm gonna just sell it. And no sooner do I click sell, and this thing just tanked. It's just amazing. So yeah, you never know. We still have 3 minutes left in the macro. It can just take off. So looking at so Bitcoin's not doing anything at all. NASDAQ is not doing anything. S&P, same thing, same sweep. Got a gap here, very tiny one. Bitcoin's making a little bit of a push. They're taking out that high. We've got a change of character. We already have a 1, 2, 3 here and here. And now another change of character here for the first time. We could get a retrace back in. They could take out this low, and then we could get that move. Or it's just a fake out, and we continue straight down again to take out all three. So you have to be really careful because of this guy. This is the key right here. So right now, essentially, it's saying that we're just in chop. So they can still chop it down one more time to take everybody out. So wherever, you have to always check, where is liquidity? Where is liquidity? Where is liquidity? If you keep that in your mind, where's all the liquidity? Where are all the people putting their stops? And do they have enough to go and take people out? Because there are lots of stops right here, and these guys just got taken out. So since these guys got taken out, and these guys got taken out here because there are lots of stops here, where would they be going for stops next? The only place right now is here, up here, and right above here, right? That's the only place that we have stops. So these guys are gone. These guys are gone. So the only ones that are in play is here and here. So if you keep looking at it in that way, then you have to surmise and decide, okay, where are they going to go get the stops from?
There are some stops lower down.
That would be here, and these stops here, right?
Yes.
And these stops here. So these would be the only stops that are in play. So there's a low-hanging fruit right there, first one. So that's a typical and good one to go and get. And then they might get this one and this one. So that would give me my correct presumption that this chart, they were going to go down and take these lows out. But you still don't know if you're right, because even at this point, they can just say, oh, we're going back up. So they don't have to come down and take these guys.
I prefer the down move because of the fact that the gap has not been mitigated as it.
Yes, and this looks really tempting, right? For them to come down, take these guys that drop down into the gap. This is my first analysis, and I like that. You know, they did go up a little high here when I said that I thought they would come back up here. They went up a bit high, but still worked. And so yeah, I like that for sure. we're right at the 10-minute after now, so that might be it for the NAS to move. It hasn't moved very much at all, so not much of a macro today. The macro started here, and all we've done is this move here, not much. So that's not typical of the macro. Macro is usually moving in bursts, so quite interesting today. So Bitcoin is the one that's doing the most work today. Here. So it looks like we're correct in that we are going to go and take out these lows. So there we go. These guys are done. These guys are done. These guys are basically done. So only these guys left. And they look like they should be taken out as well. And then we should be on our way back to the upside. So you're looking for a play on Bitcoin to the upside once we take this last low here. So that's the last.
And where is the gap? Where is the gap on your?
Right here.
Okay.
So this is the midpoint of the gap. The dotted line is the midpoint.
Okay.
So I'm marking the gaps myself because I don't like the indicator so much. I've got an indicator that marks the gaps only when there is a change of character or break of structure. But the other one I took off because there's too many gaps all over the place. So I'm marking them myself so I can.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so looking for another drop to take out this low. And then again, a turnaround here. So this would be a buying opportunity. All right, so the macro is done. I don't know if they took that low. Let's just see. It looks very close. That low is 844.4. This is 846. Yes, they did. They just took that low. So there's no liquidity here anymore. There's only liquidity here. This is the last line of liquidity. So we should drop in, I would think, at that point, because we have a 1-2 here. We should come back down one more time.
Yeah, they're enticing the buyers, no, but they,
again, yeah,
but they should
stops
drop
here now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be it too, but we'll see.
Yeah, sometimes they leave
They'll leave that one alone.
Yeah, and you're there waiting for it.
But we would, because of our structure, we would expect that they would take that. We would expect that to be taken out. So we're still essentially typically in a fourth wave here. So we could still drop through. This is all a fourth wave that we're, this whole area. So what kind of fourth wave is that? It's just, you see how messy and it's all messed up, right? Lots of chop. But this is typical of a fourth wave, right? They're not going to make it easy for you to discern it.
Yeah, they will confuse you. But they painted a gap though to the upside, so you know even that can fool you as well. But
this one here?
No, that.
You mean on the current leg?
On the current leg going up, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There's two of them. Yeah. But we have a gap here, a bearish gap. So that could be just a move like that to drop us.
Yeah, in this fourth wave here, it's always a tricky play.
So you have to kind of stick to your guns, and in that we expect this low to be taken. So if we're counting the waves, and we have 1, 2, and this is 3, there's no other 3, then we have to expect that this should be taken and give us a 5. So our 4 is over here somewhere. This could be our 4 here, and then our 5 would come down. So we have to expect that move, but there's no guarantee that this will be taken. That's the only thing. It's questionable whether that will be taken. We expect it to be taken, but it doesn't mean that it has to be taken.
They are good at getting.
Oh, they're very good.
Confused.
I mean, I have to commend them all the time because they fool me a lot of times, but then it's like, oh, I see what they're doing, you know. So you have to kind of adjust.
Yeah.
So here's our typical. This is a beautiful setup here. This is what we're looking for. That beautiful setup where they sweep, you know, prior and they drop in, and then you get the move. So there's our structure. So once we see that, then we know, okay, we can count. We can count from here, 1, 2. So we're looking for 3, but you see how you can get fooled because inside of that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as well. So that's what fools people quite a bit. So a lot of people think this is the top. So that's why I say you kind of have to question it and think, okay, is this a 3 or is it a 5 at this point? So if you think it's a 5, then you're going to jump in to go short. So you're going to look for price to come up in here, and then you're going to look to go short. So then you get taken out by that move. If you think it's a 3, then you would expect them to take that high out, right?
Yeah.
So you have to count it properly, and counting it properly is tough. But that's the game. That's the game right there. That's the whole game right there.
Yeah, even just now they could have enticed you to go long.
Yes, and that's what they're doing. Right?
Because they did sweep to the lows right there.
Yes, except
so you have a lot of bias
one.
in there now.
Except for this one.
Except for that one.
Yeah. So we would expect them to take that one as well. So all these are gone. So I would expect them to take this guy. This is my 3. So I don't want to be buying in here, you know. I have to wait for them to take this low first. So if you can be patient and wait that out, I'd rather be selling in here. Like up here, that would have been a sell. But you can see you get chopped up in here too, right? So you sell, you have to get out quick. That's why I said I would prefer not to sell here, even though it's tempting. Yeah, you can make a little bit of money, but it's not great. All right, so I think that's it for today. We are basically done. So I'll watch for Bitcoin to break that low still, but again, if it starts to break to the upside, if they start changing character here and so forth, then that could be it. They're not going to take that low. So, all right, I'll call it a day. Another day passes.
Thanks,
so
Lennox.
One more day tomorrow. So it was quite a session here because I've got quite the plays. It was interesting, but I managed to make a lot of profit regardless. So it was really good. So I'm just a little less than $4,000 away from 2 million. Getting there slowly. Should be able to do that with one play here, hopefully. One more play. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Catch you guys tomorrow.
Good.
Okay.
Mr. Bain didn't say a word today, so I'm not sure if he was with us or not. Marquis, thanks for dropping in. Armin did finally drop in, didn't say a word either. Stacy, you alive and well?
Oh yeah. I'm alive and well, just busy.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all very, very watchful here.
All right. Armin, we'll chat momentarily.
Sure.
Okay.
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Gentlemen,
All right.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Okay. Bye now. And for all those on YouTube, if you like what you're seeing, please give us a like and do subscribe to our channel. George, thank you.
Take care now, guys.
Yeah, we'll have a great rest of the day. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.